I wanted to come and talk a little bit about my experiences with Glossolalia, otherwise known by some folk as speaking in tongues, because I feel there is much misunderstanding um, in the spiritual community and among other communities about what it is. And I wanted to just share my experiences with it and how I interpret it. Through my own experience. So no, this is limited to me. I'm 28. Uh, and if you feel differently, that's okay. If you don't understand it, that's okay. Um, I don't expect everyone to be receptive. I don't expect everyone to know through experience about this sort of experience. And I also know a lot of people have a lot of preconceptions and beliefs about it, just from engaging in some conversations online with people. And also I'm seeing a lot more of it on Instagram and other places talking about light language and stuff like that. And so I just wanted to clear up some things, and not to clear up, not to say other people's experiences and what they denote it to be is wrong. I don't know. Something I am certain of in my short 28 years of life is you can't be certain about anything. Um, So for me, at least, when I see people say they're speaking fairy language or they're channeling their ancestors or they're speaking Lemurian or Egyptian or languages we don't know about, personally, my ego feels it's very silly um, because you don't know. Like, how would you claim that it's fairy speaking through you? Like, anyways, I don't want to shame. I don't want to judge another's experience. Um, but I know in my experience, I don't know what it is. It's just me vocalizing. And that it can be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be this esoteric practice, right? I think we all have gifts, and the gift of the tongue is one we all have, unless you're mute or, don't have a tongue. Um, but I get, and maybe this is something for me to work on in my ego, I get annoyed when I see people saying they're channeling Archangel Metatron or Ariel and stuff, because I'm like, bro, in my experience with those energies, you don't know for certain. I think my interpretation of it is it's an experience that feels different than normal experience. It's different than your normal waking life. Um, okay, I just wanted to make sure it was filming because I would be so embarrassed if I did this whole video and it wasn't filming. But it's different. It's definitely different and can make you uncomfortable. And so I think people externalize it and say, oh, this is fairy language or this is light language. This is light language. English is light language. Light is love, bro. So if you can use your words as spells to communicate love and light, that's light language. So I do find it less productive for people to label it as such, because I know for certain they don't know for certain. I know for certain that there is an experience after death, but I don't. I might die and everything's black and I'll never know. I have evidence in terms of what I feel and other people's near-death experiences, right? And so I do feel very certain that when we die, there is more experience to be had. But I don't know for certain. I don't know for certain if the sun's going to come up tomorrow. Even though I have 28 years of it happening every day, I don't know for certain, right? That I think certainty is an illusion, and certainty is dangerous. If you claim things as truth that aren't truth, it can be dangerous. And that's the reason that people are so pushed back against stuff like speaking in tongues when they see people talking about fairy language or stuff like that. But again, I'm not here to judge. If you want to label it as that, so be it. And also, I'm not you. In my experience, I'm not certain. Maybe in yours you are, but I don't buy it. Anyways, so I did first, I grew up Christian, not in a church that spoke in tongues, but I knew about speaking in tongues as being like a spiritual gift or whatever. But I never witnessed it. I never was influenced by other people speaking in tongues or experiencing glossolalia. So I really knew nothing about it. In 2022, I went to a mental hospital for having what psychiatry defines as a psychotic episode and mania. In that process, I was spending a lot of time out here at Puda Creek, especially with a buddy of mine. And I was ramped up. I was feeling good. I was feeling like I was having a spiritual experience, and I was. It's not, being diagnosed with something or ending in a mental hospital doesn't discredit your experience. You know, that's something that was hard for me coming out of the mental hospital. Is like I felt like everything was so real, and it was. It just didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. And I don't want to go on too many tangents because I want to get back to what I'm trying to talk about, which is glossolalia. So I remember the day I first experienced it. I was walking at Puda with my buddy, and I just started speaking gibberish. And it sounded like Hebrew, like a mix of Hebrew and like an African dialect. And I remember it just felt so good. Like I felt high. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. Uh, and my buddy just started busting out laughing, crying, laughing. Like I was doing it, and then we just started like kneeling over laughing because it was so fucking funny. And it was a new experience for me, and it was a new experience for him. And he's like, dude, it sounds like you're speaking Hebrew. And in that moment, in those experiences, I thought I was speaking an ancient language, or I thought I didn't know what to make of it. I didn't know what it was, what it meant, or how it should be used. And so I started doing it a lot. Uh, and in those experiences, it did feel at times that my ancestors were working through me. I remember feeling connected to my ancestors when I was manic. And it felt like I was summoning something ancient. And that's what it felt like to me. Whether I was or not doesn't matter. Uh, I say a lot, and it's kind of my way to slow down my talk, because if I keep talking, it'll just like keep going. Anyways, I don't know. I don't have a connection. I have friends that maybe have closer connections to their spirit guides or whatever you want to call it, or their ancestors. I personally don't. And in my view, I don't think anyone can be certain of what energy they're feeling other than love or, real experiences in this world. But these out there stuff, it's not clear. Uh, fuck. Um, but again, I'm not, if you want to say that you're speaking a different language, cool, but it's not a language anyone understands. So don't expect people to be like, oh yeah, you're speaking Lemurian. Some people might believe it and own it, and that's cool for you. I'm not here to claim what it is. And I remember in the mental hospital, I was doing it a lot at nighttime, especially. I was pretty normal during the day in the mental hospital, but at nighttime I would go into like these terrors, and I would just be right. I would just be going on it. And I remember a worker, they didn't know what to do with me. Like they were like, "What the fuck is going on?" Right? And I remember a worker. I was at this time. It was more sounding like an African dialect, and one of the workers, who was an African immigrant, spoke in his native tongue, and it snapped me out of my experience. And I was like, "Oh shit! Someone sees me. Like someone understands me." And because I was manic and was experiencing intense delusions that were just delusions, I thought I was speaking his language, and I thought he was understanding what I was saying, and he was speaking back in his native tongue. I don't know what he said in his native tongue because I wasn't speaking his language and I didn't understand his language. I think, and I'd have to ask him, but I think he didn't know what to do in that moment, and he tried anything he could to get me out of it, and it worked. And since the mental hospital, that was 2022, it's now 2025. Um, I was still doing it at home, freaking my parents out because it was very angry, because I was mad, because I thought I was Elijah the prophet, and I was trying to prove to my parents that I was Elijah the prophet. And I was like, look at what I'm doing. Like, I'm speaking in tongues, I'm doing all this stuff. Like, is this not enough proof for you? Who the fuck would believe you're Elijah the prophet, bro? My name's Nathan. Whether you believe in modern day prophets or not, it doesn't matter. I'm not here to tell you who I am other than Nathan James. Uh, Anyways, it was scary because I was mad at the world. I was like, you guys don't realize who's standing in front of you. Look who the fuck I am. I'm Elijah the prophet. I came here to save the world type shit. You know what I mean? And maybe you don't know what I mean. But regardless, I was mad. And so it was frightening. And after I kind of came down and went into a deep depression, I didn't utilize the tool that much. Also, this is kind of my ego speaking, because Dennis, the Dennis the Menace in the mental hospital, the one that spoke in his native tongue to me, I remember him telling me, like, at one point he was like, "Look, Nate, you have a spiritual gift, but you need to become a man," basically. And I didn't know what he meant at the time because I was like, "Duh, I have spiritual gifts, bro. I'm Elijah the prophet." Like, duh. Um, and now looking back, I think the only thing he could relate to being a spiritual gift would be me speaking in tongues. No, I think it's a gift that we can all engage in. I think fear and feelings of discomfort expressing in those ways limits our ability to do that. I think fear limits a lot. Limits our ability to engage in telekinesis and stuff like that. It's fear and doubt. Um, anyways, I just wanted to say that to be seen somewhat. Anyways, I don't have to explain why I'm talking because I'm just fucking talking to myself. And so I went a while without doing it. And then I became manic again in 2023, a year after my mental hospital trip, exactly a year after. And I started speaking in tongues a lot, and I was sharing on Instagram. And I even recently shared on Instagram a little bit. And I've come to where I stand today is not where I'm going to stand in a year, and it's not where I stood a year ago or a week ago. I don't see it as having utility for the most part, other than for myself as a tool. Am I open to it being a tool for others in the future? Yeah. I have shared it with some people, and I've shared it online. And the people that knew me that watched the video said it made them uncomfortable because it's weird, bro. It's like, who does he think he is? What does he think he's doing? This is gibberish. Yeah, it is gibberish. Uh, but they did say it made them feel more comfortable to do their own weird things and things that might make them uncomfortable. Because if I could do it and share it online, like, why can't I share my experiences or thoughts, right? I don't know. So I'm not going to say there's no utility in sharing it, but I know in my past when I've shared it, I wanted to prove something, and I'm not here to prove anything right now. I just want to share my experience. Um, I use it as a tool pretty much every day now. And yes, I experienced it first when I was manic, and I'm more likely to do it for public people when I'm manic. I've only been manic twice, and I haven't been manic since 2023. Uh, my therapist yesterday, I was talking to him about how I know when I'm maybe ramping up. And when I get in the head that I'm gonna meet Kendrick Lamar and like think for a fact that like I'm gonna meet him at some point and put on this performance, I had this like delusion when I was manic that I was gonna put on this performance that would like heal the world and shit. Again, a delusion. When I start feeling that energy again, I know I'm probably need to up my dose of something like Zyprexa. Uh, and he's like, so we got after the session, he's like, all right, so we got your Kendrick Lamar barometer, which I thought was funny. Um, Anyways, that was just a side note. I like to go on tangents because that's the way my brain thinks. It's just like going, you know. Regardless, I use it as a tool now every day. It's helped me transmute anxiety. If I'm driving to work and I'm feeling anxious, and the anxiety's building and building and building, and I feel it in my chest, and then I just let it out. I just let out the tongues. I let out the gibberish, and the anxiety goes away. And then I'm like, oh, that felt good. I'm relaxed now, and I can go to work and whatever. I use it sometimes when I'm depressed because it does give me a kind of high. It puts me in like a trance-like state. It puts me into a state of euphoria in some regard because it's fun for me. It's really fun. Um, so when I'm depressed, I might use it and get in a better mood. Um, and sometimes it just comes out of me. Sometimes I'm doing breath work and I do a breath hold. And someone's coming, so now I'm embarrassed because I'm talking to myself. Oh, you're good. I didn't realize I'm taking a video. Sorry. No, I'm taking a video too. It's okay. Are you on video? Yeah, it's okay. We're both filming. Have a good one. Likewise. Yeah, thank you. That was funny. Where was I? I got embarrassed because I'm filming myself and I'm the only one out here. And someone was coming and I'm like, what are they gonna think? You know, and she was filming herself too, so it's all good in the, you know what I mean? That's funny. Anyways, if you're still watching this, thanks for watching and being receptive to a new experience. I was saying sometimes it comes out of me during breath work. I do breath work like, and I keep doing that. And then I'll do a breath hold, and then I get high. And then sometimes it just comes out of me. And in those moments, it does feel like something's taking over me. It feels like a flow state. It feels like I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking about what I'm saying. I'm just allowing it to be expressed through me. Now, does that mean something's channeling through me? Something's always channeling through me. Like there's always something channeling through you, energy, electricity, whatever it is. You're always channeling something. So I have my own thoughts on channeling and stuff. I think it's people's way to make sense of a different experience. But it's all me, bro. Like the only thing I know for certain is this is me and this is my energy, right? Um, but yeah, so am I open to potentially in the future seeing more use for it? Yeah. I think if I see someone else speaking in tongues and they're psychotic, and you know, I work in mental health, and if a client was psychotic, I'm not gonna say that, but like if I saw someone that was going through it and they were speaking in tongues and I was trying to get them to come back to reality and they weren't, I'd probably try it and be like, let me try this, like Dennis the Menace did, and see if it snaps them out of it. And then I can use words, right? Because in the Bible it says you need a translator, you need to translate the experience. I think Paul says, I want you to speak in tongues, but I'd rather you prophecy. Why? Because prophecy is real words. You're making meaning of something. It's more relatable and people can understand it. And so I understand that this experience and what I'm about to do in a sec might make you uncomfortable. You might not understand it, but it's okay to not be understood because it's not to be understood. It's to be felt. However you feel about it, that's okay with me because I know there are things I'm wrong about. I know in a week from now, after sharing this video, I might think differently. I know in 10 years, I might think differently. But this is just where I'm at today, right now, speaking. And yeah, so am I open to someone? I've never seen someone possessed by a demon. Am I open to it being a tool for that purpose? Yeah. I haven't experienced it yet, so I don't know if it's useful. Am I open to other people having done that? Yeah, I believe it. And I think it's silly when people try to say that's a gift of the past. It's not, you know, there's no use now. And so they try to discredit and say it's like demonic. People are doing it now. And I'll add some scripture in this and some explanation, but it also said knowledge will pass. You think we're past knowledge? You think there's no more knowledge to be had? We're not at that point yet, brother. Right? And I'm thinking about a scripture in particular, I think in Corinthians. I'd have to check, but it's silly. It's because you don't understand what's happening and it's not meant to be understood. And you want to discredit people's experience because you haven't experienced it yourself. And I think that's ridiculous. So I do want to share it because it's fun for me. And do I know, is there utility in sharing it with the public or with people? I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. And maybe after sharing it, I'll realize, yeah, it's not to be shared. It's for me and my connection with spirit or nature or my soul or myself. But if you do enjoy it or you're uncomfortable or it makes you mad, let me know. If you think it's stupid, let me know. I don't care. I'm an idiot. I'm an intuitive idiot. That's what I call myself. I just like that name a lot. So yeah, I'm kind of nervous because I know I'm going to share this. And after I share, I feel silly. Oh, I should, I get caught in my head. Should I have shared that? Should I have done that? Blah, blah, blah. I don't really give a fuck. So here it goes. Numokainda shakruma kopopoyata. Nikromokoya painda. Nikromokoya painda. Mukapai shukuya taina. Nikramakai putaina. Nishkramakai shambakoya maka. Nishkramakai mukutai shmakringa kupopoya tutainda. Namakramba kotatai shamakomba. And sometimes it sounds different. Sometimes it sounds different than that. Sometimes I click a lot more. It sounds different at different points. And when I've heard other people do it, mind you guys, I do it myself every day. And when I see other people doing it, I still get uncomfortable because I don't think I've integrated the experience in a way that I fully accept it, And that's coming from someone who just did it. So I understand that by sharing this, people might think I'm crazy or this guy's got a screw loose. And guess what I do? I think we all do. And I think to judge another person for sharing themselves with the world is silly. I know, in the past, I thought that sharing it online would make me go viral and I'd become famous, and that's because I was very ego-driven. This is the first time I really shared it where it hasn't been ego-driven. Maybe to some extent, maybe everything's ego-driven, right? Because I'm recognizing you, whoever you are, as separate than me, and my ego allows me to be an individual, and I'm sharing it with another individual, so that is ego-driven. I don't think I'm going to get famous from doing this. I don't think the world would be receptive of this in the way that maybe when I was manic, I thought they would be. And I think it's important because when I was manic and psychotic, there was no stopping it. Like I couldn't bring it back to reality and talk and connect. And so there was a disconnect from reality because I was unable to connect with another individual's experience through this. And maybe there is no connection to be had with Glossolalia. But I think there is because people have reached out to me and been like, oh, I experienced this too. I'd be interested in, whatever. But yeah, my whole point here is there is no point to it. You get to make meaning of it. I've made my own meaning of it. I think the tongue is powerful. I think using vocalizations to transmute energy is powerful. I've used it as a tool to transmute anxiety and depression and negative thoughts. Because when something's in your brain, if something's in your head, in your heart, to be able to speak it out gets it out there and it releases it. I'm not speaking a different language. And people denounce speaking in tongues because they're like, in the Bible it says they spoke in tongues and everyone understood them. Okay, maybe in that one experience, someone had an out-of-body experience and they were speaking different languages. But it also says someone needs to translate it, implying it doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to make sense. And I'm trying to make sense of it right now. Anyways, this is a pretty long video, so if you got to this point, leave a comment at least and say I watched the whole thing so I know. I don't know, because I'm fucking egotistical and I want to know if people watch this shit. And let me know your thoughts. I'm tough. You can say anything. It's not, it might make me a little upset, but I'm going to work through it. It might make... Yeah, man, what are you doing? Speak English again, because it makes more sense. Because I can convey more meaning using words. Yeah. So I guess my point here is just sharing my experience with it. And I do want to say, like, steer clear of people that... Oh, got a fucking tick, bro. Steer clear of people that... Well, I'm not going to tell you who to steer clear from. If you resonate with someone and you feel aligned with them, go for it. Who am I to say? In my experience, when I see people saying, this is light language, sure, is it light language? Yeah, that's a cool name for it, maybe. But it's making it seem special. It's not special. I'm not special. I'm just like you, bro. Sister, mister, whoever you are. I'm just like you. I'm a human. And we have a tongue, and we can have a vocal cord, and we vocalize things. And when we make meaning through our vocalizations, it's more meaningful and it's more impactful. But I did want to share some of it because it's fun for me and it makes me feel vulnerable, and I like doing things that make me feel vulnerable. Yeah. So I hope you got something out of this. I hope it at least made you feel something. Whatever it is, I'm not going to decide for you. That's all I try to do in life, is allow others to feel more deeply. And if you feel uncomfortable, let me know and explain why you feel uncomfortable so I can better guide my use of it, right? If you think there's an avenue for me to use this tool, let me know, because as of right now, I don't think there really is, other than for my own exploration, and maybe that's all it is for me. Maybe it's not to be shared. I think there's utility in everything at some point, in some regard, right? But I don't know yet, bro. I'm young, and it's only something that's new in my life in the past 3 years. But I'm at the point in my video where I'm just going to keep repeating myself if I don't kind of come to a close. But if you're still here, I'll keep going. I don't know how I feel about, like, Bashar, because if you don't know who he is, he's a guy who says he channels an extraterrestrial entity. But even him, the reason I trust him more and resonate more with him is because even he says, I don't know if this is just a deeper aspect of my soul or truly another entity that's out there. But in his experience, it really feels like an external being. And I'm not here to say that is not true, right? But if someone's saying for certain, just be aware. It's a little bit manipulative in some regard, and taking advantage of people's spiritual vulnerability and their search for something. And I just am wary of labeling things because we don't know. I'm wary of people who say, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, this video is probably not for you. When people are like, I don't even know. Because I don't want to judge people. I don't want to denounce someone else's experience. I just know my own experience. And I like sharing my experiences with people. That's why I make a bunch of videos on Instagram. That's why I'm sharing this. That's why I created my subreddit, The Intuitive Idiot. Check it out. Anyways, I know, I hope that people are open to new experiences and maybe trying to understand more deeply someone else's experience, and you don't have to be supportive of me, but if you're going to come on here and be like, just denounce it, Just move on, bro. Actually, no, say it because I want to work through it with you. Yeah, I think that's a good place to stop. I almost did it, bro. I almost did it. It's just an exhale, bro. Think of it. I like to say emotional utterances. I came up with that term myself because I don't like the term speaking in tongues because it has this biblical significance, and then you got these Pentecostals saying it's a gift, and then you got the Protestants saying that's evil and all this bullshit. So emotional utterances, and now I learned of the term glossolalia pretty recently, and I like that because it's an actual scientific term for an experience that's not understood well. Um, but it does feel out of body. It feels like flow state, bro. It feels like I'm not controlling it, and like you don't control emotions sometimes, but emotions are still a part of you. It doesn't have to be some external entity speaking through you. Anyways, I hope I know for a fact if you watch this whole video, you're the homie. Like, you are receptive and you are aware and open to me, and that makes me feel loved. So thank you for watching it. If you're here, let me know what your experience was, or if you have experiences with it, let me know. Share them. I love to hear them, and it'll help me learn because uh, the only people I've also experienced speaking in tongues was, I think, no, not in Africa, but people at my church who came from Africa. I used to do like a worship night, and they would speak in tongues when we were praying. Um, and also when I got prayed over, I came out of the mental hospital and got prayed over, and they spoke in tongues, but it was like they were whispering, like, they weren't letting it out. But it feels good to let it out. I feel like it's a cosmic sneeze. It's like a chew, like it just is a release of energy, a release of emotions. And in different times, like I'll be doing it and be feeling things about my day and processing things about my day, processing future experiences, future whatever. Um, sorry, I just scratched my nuts, but anyways, yeah, I'm not saying much at this point. So again, I love you if you watch this. Even if you hated it, let me know you hated seeing it. Let me know whatever. Just let me know, bro. Yeah.